But I don't regret one day down there at all. The only days I did regret when it was blooming cold in the middle of winter, you know. So, but yeah.
Can you tell us how you got your apprenticeship, how that came about, or?
Yeah, I mean my first job was I was apprentice at the Grimsby Transport, and once I'd finished there, I had a friend of mine who I was at college with. I said I was interested in making a move as soon as I finished my time there, and he put me in touch with a manager, Mr. Les Thompson at BUT Engineering, and asked him if I could get a job with them. So he obviously had a word with him, and I went and met Mr. Thompson, and he said, yeah, he says, you can come down. And at the time, we were doing a 4-year apprenticeship at the bus depot, but the engineering side were doing 5-year apprenticeships. So he said, you can come down on the proviso that you do another year on your apprenticeship to make it 5 years. So I said, yes, there's no problem at all, I'll do that. And it was one of the best moves I ever made, because it just opened up a whole new world again. You know, from starting on one job at an early age of like 20, moving on to another job, and it just expanded what I'd learned on both jobs really. And yeah, absolutely.
Can you remember your first day at the docks then, working there?
I can, yeah.
What time did you start, was it?
I started at 7:30. That was after being round the little fire that Bob Stevenson had stoked up from 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was one of the big cast boilers with a chimney straight out the ceiling, and his job was to go in at 7 in the morning, put that on, make sure the workshop was warm. And my first job was with a guy called George Armstrong, and I was his bag carrier. You put your hammer through the little Hessian handles over your shoulder, and that was it. You walked to your job. And that was my first job, George Armstrong. And no sooner had we got round to the pontoon where the ice chutes were, that the ship that we were supposed to be repairs on was moving off over to the oil jetty on the far side, on the north wall. So we had to turn around and walk all the way around the docks again to the north wall. And that's what it was, walking, working, and of course meeting lots of people on the way round. And they were similar, probably they were coming from the oil jetty back round to the ice chute. So it was, yeah, it was a wonderful experience, and I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Yeah, it was really good. So no regrets at all.
Yeah. Were there any big events that happened at the docks while you were there?
I beg your pardon, sorry?
Were there any big events, any memorable days in particular where anything happened, or?
I think one of the biggest events really was the first, how can I put it, the stern trawlers, one of the rear end trawlers where they fished off the back end. And if you can remember the unfortunate incident with the Gaul from Hull, it sank in deep water. Well, it was a sister ship, and I can't remember the name of the sister ship for the love of the money, but it was a similar trawler, and what they used to do is they used to fish off the stern, and then it was like they used to fetch the fish up straight down to the holes. They used to gut it, clean it, fillet it, and ice it up, and then when they used to come back into the docks, it was all frozen in blocks. So all they did was take it off the boat and take it down to the coal stores. And we was actually one of the first gangs to work on the first stern trawler in Grimsby. But as I say, I just cannot recollect the name of it. I think it was a sister ship to the Gaul, but I'm not quite sure on that one. But yeah, that was another experience. It was a first, and so yeah. And of course, then when the deep sea trawlers sort of phased away, they just carried on with the North Sea trawlers, middle distance trawlers, and basically like the cat boats, Ross cat boats, just Tiger, the Lynx, Cheetah, all those kind of, and we just carried on with the maintenance on those. So yeah, you know, again, like I say, it was very, each day was different, and I think most people in work will tell you the same thing, you know, that each day could be different. So it was fun as well. We just had some really good laughs you know.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't get away with a lot of things that we was doing then now, but yeah.
Did you socialise with the people that you worked with? Did you go down Freeman Street afterwards, or?
Not a lot of them, but yeah. I mean, sometimes we used to go for a drink on, obviously, on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That was the biggest night. One of the lads that I say in my apprenticeship with, the guy who put me in touch with Mr. Thompson, I still keep in touch with him as much as I can now. And he was a great help to me when I was down there. Great help to me. And yeah, and I mean, as a family, we've actually kept in touch, you know, as much as possible. And which again is another, you know, I don't know whether as many people would do that now, but as I say, the sort of, I don't know, the relationships that you have with people. And I mean, I still see them out actually when I'm around town, and we do have a good laugh. Yeah, remember the good old days, I think. I think that sounds a bit, well, I don't know. Yeah, everybody says the good old days, but I think it was. I think it was, you know, because there was, you know, we had some real good times, real good times.
And you said that you come from a family of people that worked around the docks.
Yeah.
Have you got any memories of going there as a child, or would you not?
Not so much with my father, because in them days it was, I don't think they were allowed to take children down the docks at the time, because of the activities down there, because it was all hustle and bustle all the time. I can't recollect going down docks with my father at all, although he did, my brother did take me down. He was lumping. And he says, "Come on," he said, "I'll take you down the North Wall." And it was snowing, and we went down the North Wall, and I believe it was a January time when they all used to go up on the North Wall for the winter, probably for about 2 weeks when they couldn't go out into the deep sea waters when it was too rough. And we had a drive down there, and it was it was just an amazing sight. From one end of the North Wall to the other end, to the oil jetties, it was just staying on all the way down. And the people have told me that you could walk from deck to deck, from one end of the North Wall right the way down to the other. There was that many ships down there. So that's another one of my memories. I was probably about 15 when he took me down. And but again, it was cold. So.
Did you notice a lot of change in the docks in the time that you worked there?
Oh yeah.
When did you actually stop working in the docks?
I think the last time I worked down docks was around about 74, around about 74. So I mean, I was only down there maybe 6 years, on and off. And but yeah, you could notice a change. How can you say it? The fishing industry was on the decline, and because again, my father used to say that there was at the time actually we were catching too many fish. This was all before all the conservation people were saying that there was losing the fish stocks, and he used to drive the wagons over from the docks to the fish meal, and what he used to break his heart along with a lot of other guys that there was good fish going over to fish meal just to be chained up for fertiliser, when really it was, you know, overfishing, I think. But that's not to say people, I mean, people needed to make a living, so that's what they did. You know, they didn't ask questions then, and they was off 14 days at a time coming back and earning some money, so that's what they did. So, but yeah, I noticed that obviously things were slowing down a little bit, but then, as I say, I moved off the docks then, and sort of moved away from there and went into other maintenance jobs then. So basically that was, that was sort of the area that I was in. It's like about 5 or 6 years, late 60s, early 70s, and again, yeah, terrific times.
Do you ever go back there now? Or?
I think the only time the only time we go down, actually the only time we do go down there is when we go to the Ross shop down there. But I have actually been down the North Wall once or twice when I was actually putting some CVs in for jobs at Centrica. But again, it's all changed. You know, you go down the North Wall now and it's all the wind farm boats now. So for taking the crews out onto the wind farms. So it's sad, certainly sad, but unfortunately it's just signs of the times, you know. I don't think there was anybody would envisage it ever going on all, you know, forever. At some stage it did have to come to a halt, unfortunately. But I don't regret one day down there, not at all. An absolutely terrific time we had.
Lovely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some really good bits in there.